Officials at the National Cash Transfer Program are being accused of stealing money meant for some of Nigeria's poorest and most vulnerable households. The program was set up in 2017 to help lift families out of poverty. Evelyn Akaka reports.
More than 80 million people in Nigeria live in poverty. That's around 40% of the population. That's why the government created the National Social Register. It's funded by the World Bank, and a portion of the money so far recovered from the billions stolen by late President Sani Abacha. So far, 30 million Nigerians have been enrolled to receive a stipend of 5,000 naira every 2 months.
We've been paying about 1 million beneficiaries across the country. At first, we started with 19 states as far back as 2016-17, and this is through the World Bank facility of $500 million over 5 years, and also the use of the Abacha repatriated loot of 325 million, and that has been given to the NCTU.
But with the best of intentions comes some of the biggest challenges. There are questions over the verification process of adding people to the register. And there are accusations that those responsible for handling the cash out are keeping it for themselves.
And we gave them evidence, audio evidence, real proof. And immediately they observed that 5 cash transfer officers were removed from their positions. We have cases where they will say that the reason why we are removing this money is because the people who are coming from Abuja will need to take care of them. So there are a series of funny stories.
But with poverty ever increasing in Nigeria, there's a question of how sustainable this program is.
It's never static, so poverty, as we know, is relative and it's also transient. Those who are well-to-do now, why we started developing the social register from our poorest communities. The urban poor were sitting pretty, we will say.
For all its challenges, the project does have success stories. In rural areas, recipients have helped build boreholes for water, while others have started agricultural businesses. Evelyn Akaka, Arise News.
All right, let's bring in Walter Ndukwe Ugwuocha, the field coordinator of the National Social Safety Net Program. Walter, glad to have you join us on Newsnight. The recipients of this stipend are complaining of CTOs, that's cash transfer officers, taking about 500 naira of this money. How are you handling this?
Thank you so much, and it's nice to be here in the program. First is to say that we must acknowledge the fact that there are daunting challenges everywhere in terms of poverty, and some of these cases that were seen and were reported, I must commend the National Cash Transfer Office and the and NASCO for taking germane immediate steps and leadership in terms of solving those and removing those officers that were found to have been asking beneficiaries from one way or the other to kind of make some sort of refund or bring some sort of money or at one point or the other. So at the community level and at the program implementation level, they have been very, very active in terms of trying to make sure that once we report as third-party monitors across the federation and verifying that these people actually do exist, and going to make sure in their households to be sure that they've been receiving this money over the past going to 2 years now. They've been very, very proactive in ensuring that once they receive our report, they follow it up, and whoever the cash transfer is found wanting is removed from the program. So in that way, it doesn't become a stumbling block, or we don't wait till the end of the year where we now come and shout and announce that we can't find 200 million out of the 1 billion or thereabout. So they've been very proactive in handling this, and we will not stop reporting. We will keep reporting, and we'll keep calling their attentions whatever state, whichever local government. We are at the moment in all the payment centers and the beneficiary homes across the federation. So wherever we find as third-party monitors, wherever we find any irregularity, we'll call the attention of both the state and the national cash transfer officers, and of course the coordinating office NASCO to it, I do hope that they will continue to respond to it.
And one of the major questions that Nigerians continue to ask is exactly how, how thorough, you come up with this 30 million on the register. Exactly how do you ensure that this monies, the 5,000 or whatever the figures are, actually do get to the, the target population?
Yes, actually, when we started the monitoring, part of the first things we did was to ensure that those people who have been selected on the register are actually the people who are in need to be in the register, when we mean the poorest of the poor. So the way the program was designed with technical support from the World Bank, everybody that is on the register has what we call a unique identifier. So what that unique identifier does is that once you scan the person's barcode or once you collect the GPS locations and you load it on a GPS device, it takes you straight to the person's community and household and home inside the community. So what we did is we didn't bother with asking the states to come and lead us to the beneficiary homes. We collected the GPS locations and loaded it on our own server as independent CSOs. And it took us straight to these beneficiaries' homes. And we sampled at random. And we didn't want to say, okay, we are prioritizing this community over this community. We did what we call a blind random sampling methodology. And we went straight to the beneficiaries' homes and we started interviewing the beneficiaries one after the other. Who told you on the program? How has the program been? How much have you received? Have you received the 5,000? Then it was when we were satisfied, because it was quite a huge sample that we took, almost 400 and something thousand out of the 1 million that's on register. And it was when we were satisfied, we started getting the feedback that they were being, they're actually collecting the money. Then we now started asking them, what exactly are you going to use this money for? Or what have you been using this money? Or how has this money helped your household? How has it, helped you to alleviate you from poverty and all of those things? So in terms of verifying the actual people who are on this register, the mechanism of the process that was set up by the program at level supported by World Bank is very, very transparent. And we are open to sharing that data with a number of Nigerians who say, look, once you load, it's just the way we are, whatever location you are. If I pin the GPS of your location and I can share with anybody and the person will be able to come
Walter, just a bit there. Let's talk about what someone told me about this particular initiative of the federal government and stakeholders. Yes. Someone said to me that 5,000 bi-monthly, which of course is about 30,000 in a year, is rather too small. How do you respond to such a person?
Yes, actually, for us who are wearing suits and us who are in the semi-urban and urban centers, is too small for us. But I tell you what, for those who are in the rural communities, when you look at the social economic indices of what they have been, some of them, when we took time to look at what they have, what their income status is per annum, we discovered that they sell, when they farm, after finish farming and sell all the tubers of yam they farm or all their farm produce, they're able to make 15,000 for the whole year. And that's the money they have as income. So when they now have a booster of 30,000, coming into to support, what they have. And some of these people who are actually in the lower cadre of the earning do not earn this 15,000, do not even have 5,000 to boast of. They live from hand to mouth. They are very, very poor. And the painful part of it is that the majority of Nigerians are still in this level, are still in this layer, not in the layer of people who can easily afford 5,000, not to come back to us and say it is not, it is very, very small. So they quite appreciate it, and they are very, very happy that the 5,000 is still able to get to them. What I would rather say is the fact that we will need to find a way to make sure that we sustain this program and make sure that we leverage the resources we have, both at our town development union level, at our ward development committee level, and at our local government level. That's why as CSOs we've been asking that this local government needs to come on board and do the work it ought to be doing, so that we all can join hands and lift these people out of poverty. Because at the end of the day, it robs off of all of us. It's still our taxpayers' money. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Walter Ndukwe Ugwuocha is Field Coordinator, National Social Safety Net Program.